So, well, let me first of all thank you, Stan and the Florida Earth Foundation, to invite me over here, because I'm very happy to be here. Because as you understand, the data is very much comparable to water. It does not know any borders. So if we can't cooperate on this, where can we cooperate? I'm going to try to tell you something about this project called Digital Delta. And therefore, I'm going to show you a short movie. But first of all, I really would like to thank Jay Martin, speaker of yesterday, to give me some information and some images that I will show you later on. I would also like to thank Henk Loesner from Neon to introduce the very difficult aspects and methods of this kind of big data. And of course, Steve, I want to thank you for giving this introduction before I'm up here, because I found it very difficult to explain to people. That's why we made several movies to explain what Digital Delta is all about. And it will give you the impression that around the topic of big data, we all say and think, big data, that's going to be great, let's do it. And I will tell you today that we're going to do it, but we have to do it together, and second of all, we have to grow into it. And before, well, I will give you some hands on how we think on doing that. What is it? It's in a Dutch program that we are implementing together with a lot of parties in the Netherlands, mostly in the Netherlands, but with a focus on the worldwide. And it's being developed because of the fact that we saw that everybody in the Netherlands is working with IT and data, as are you all here. And we are all developing our own things with mostly of the time point-to-point solutions, which means that there is a data source somewhere. We do not know exactly where, but if we ordered it, we do know where. And then somebody will make for us a solution in its own language, with its own data and with its own systems. And if I want to use another data source, I have to pay extra money to do so. So we wanted to do it a little more easier, because we all know that if we're going to look at the future, we will see that water management in the Netherlands and worldwide will become much more expensive than it is right now. So we see a lot of optimization and the cost effectiveness coming out of big data. So that's why we started this, and I will tell you in this presentation how this will actually work. First of all, we think that now at this time there's a sense of urgency to do so. In the Netherlands, we now face €7 billion investments every year on water management. And we think that by the year of 2020 and 25, it will rise to 8 billion, which is quite a lot. So we need to improvise, and we need to find something that's bigger. So if we use Digital Delta, we can grow into big data. We think we can be more effective and more cost effective. So what did we try to do? We will try to arrange a solution that will help all sorts of users in the water sector. So we looked not only at the governments to make better decisions to reuse data sources, applications, and also solutions for water management, but we also try to create a better way of working with interoperability with public and private products and information. We also looked at science and knowledge institute, and how can they operate better in using such a world of free-flowing water data. And then more important, there's no innovation without our enterprises. Small, medium, large enterprises need to be able to use data in the future. And not only now, but also in the future. So it will help them to get a shorter time to market. It gives them direct access to data. well, it will also create a level playing field for data. And I'll tell you why that is important. Because we found out, and you too, I learned yesterday, happily it's not only in the Netherlands, that there are lots and lots and lots of data sources. And even more than lots and lots and lots of data sources. But the fact is we don't know exactly where they are. And if we know where some of them are, we do not know what they do. What language do they speak? So what kind of standards do they use? Who are the owner? How do I get access to it? So we need to be able to do a better thing. And why is that? Because between 40 and 60% of the total project budget of most of the water products at this moment is being used at getting access to data, searching for data, and then create new technology to use that data to be effective in a project. So we can do better, and we can use all the three parties to do so. So we started with this idea. Yeah, well, and then they say, what are we actually able to do at this moment? Well, for example, as you can see here, or you should see here, this is the area of Delftland, which is here, as you can see over here, is the harbor of Rotterdam, Rotterdam Harbor, and the opposite side over there is the Hague capital, the political capital of the Netherlands. And in between there, we are responsible for water management, and we have some sort of a problem. And this problem is, well, we could call it blue-green algae, for example. There's a lot of blue-green algae in there. So at this time, we are using our pumping machines, pumping for water, to pump the water out and just hope that all of the stuff that causes, I can't find the word in English, sorry for that, that causes blue-green algae to flush it out. And how do we do that? Well, we do it like this. And we can do a better thing. We want to be able to actually measure what we're doing. But the fact is, if you look at it this way, this is, I think we can do it right now. It's contemporary. It does not in any way is comparable to what big data will actually help us to do. So we started another project. And another project is about salination. And that's what we did. This is the same area. And in this area we used all sorts of databases. Not only our databases, but also the databases of our national government, of the city of Rotterdam, of the Meteo labs, and private companies. And we aggregated that to see in what way we were able to keep the salt water out that comes into the sea, to this big waterway. And over here, at this blue arrow, we have a big lock. And at that lock, sometimes a day, lots of big ships come into there, will give their products, will bring their products to the cities. And with that, a lot of salt water that has come into to this area will also come into the area of the waterboard. And we said, also, we need to cope with that in a better way. So if we combine the last product and the last project that I've shown you, and we combine all these data sources, we would actually be able not only to be reactive, but also to be proactive. So if there's salt water entering the system, we could see where it is, and we can actually act on it very effectively without using too much fresh water to push all the salt water out. That's the first thing. So we can react on a situation. But also, which is more better, in a very near future, we are able to look at the situation in Germany, which is all up the river, somewhere over there. And if it starts to rain over there, especially in a very dry season, we need fresh water. And at this time, our water is coming from the north side, and we push it out on this way. But if we know that if it has been raining in Germany, we know that there's a flush of sweet water coming, and we can actually turn the flow of water around. So we can use the fresh water to replenish our own water, which has been salted because of the drought. Is everybody still here? Okay. So that is also a small step to big data. That would be nice to do, but we found out it's not very easy to combine all that data. We have to do a lot of things, technically, but also socially, to be able to use all that data. Not all parties say, oh, you can use it, sure. We have to go back and convince them that we will not share it to somebody else, and other people say, yeah, you have to pay for it. They said, oh, no problem, we'll pay for it. So we can do that now, and well, that will help us. But if you look at the future, we can do more. We can do a thing like this. And this is a very typical Dutch situation, but perhaps you have it here also. This is what we call a swimming water location. In the Netherlands, we have arranged it that because we like our citizens so much, we say if you want to go swimming, we arrange for you that there are pools where you can swim. Your children can swim very safe over here, and you can swim over there, and there's grass, and here, somewhere over here, you can buy something to eat. So when it's warm, but at the same time, what you see, when it's warm, for several days, 30 degrees or something, the water is becoming warm enough. And that blue-green algae, Jay, they start to pop up. So what does the province do then? Because we cooperate with the province in that. They say, we'll plant this sign over there. And this sign says, careful, don't swim. Dangerous. So perhaps one of you in this audience, this very smart audience, can tell me who asked the question for what that is the answer. Nobody did. Nobody asked the question, where can I not swim? What they wanted to know is, where can I swim? And at the same time, there are a lot of people swimming somewhere else, which is not being appointed swimming location, but they're swimming there and they can do it safe. Nobody's getting sick. Perhaps there's a boat too much over there, so we can regulate it. But you also know if you can do that several years, you also know that perhaps we should not invest in this sort of areas, because blue-green algae will come back all the time. We take another area where we know we can swim. We also know what kind of infrastructure is there. We also know what the probabilities are for more economical value over there, perhaps in the supermarket or something else, or a parking lot with a supermarket. So that would be most interesting if we can do that. But if we want to do that, we need to be able to use more sorts of data. And it's not our data. It's data from somebody else. It's data, for example, from another mother that says on Facebook, well, if you're here, I'm over here. I'm swimming. Look here, picture. My children my children are swimming over there. So, and also there are lots and lots of other organizations that have censoring everywhere else. So what will be fact if we can use all of that information? That would be far much closer to big data as I think it will be. But it's also very functional, and it will help us very fast. Well, if it will help us, it will also help Jay, I hope. And then, if it will help Jay, it will also help these children somewhere. Because of the fact that we say what we want to do with big data is want to make it interoperable. We want to be sure that if we find a solution to something using data and knowing what solution is actually effective, we must be able to assess very quickly if the solution on one place will actually be effective on another place. So Jay is being helped, and these children can actually swim. I've never seen a situation like this. So, and then you come in the most important question of all times. What will happen to our organization as public organizations if this happens? I thought, man, it will happen if somebody knocks on our doors and asks us, hey, you, what a board? What our management authority, or what kind of name we like to use? Hoogheemraadschap is the Dutch word for it. You're doing the wrong work. I know you are, because I'm using data. All sorts of data here. I can prove it to you. You can see it? You're doing the wrong thing. If you start doing something else, I can prove it too, you'll be more effective. So what will the first reaction be then? Well, the first reaction will be, I think, a typical, well, I think it's Dutch, but perhaps it's also here, a typical bureaucratic reaction. Oh, so you don't agree with our policy? Okay, we have a process for that. You can go there, complain in threefold, and we'll get back to you in 8 months. That's your first reaction. Second reaction will be, sure, good thinking of you, but we all have our own model. And I can prove in our model that we have the right model. That's the second reaction. This is also becoming a little bit more close to the next generation of water management. But the generation on that, following that, will say, thank you, sir. Thank you for saying that. Perhaps now I'm able to do my work more efficiently. And that's a strange thing, because if you look back at the last slide, you will find that big data will not only change the way we look at information, but it will also have a highly effect on roles, and role playing, and effect on who is actually will do what. So there's a fisherman in the same water over there, and he is fishing, and he's actually being lucky. And there's a fish coming out of there. And we know so much about that fish, because our biologists are very smart, and we put it into big data, sorts of instruments, databases, and because of the fact that this man says, I found a fish, I've catched a fish here, it's this fish. And we know that it hasn't been raining for several days. And we can find an app, Steve, an app where we can see how far the water is transparent. We can say very easily, hopefully, that it's safe there to swim. So at that time, you might ask yourself, what is the role then for laboratory? How fast does somebody need an answer to a question if you look at water management? So it's just one explanation or one example to do it. But the most important thing is, if we want to grow into it, we should be like Alice. We should be like Alice. We should keep wondering. We should be able to combine all that data from who knows the data comes, and be able to see what will bring it to us. Because of the fact we don't know what it will bring us. At this time, we can only imagine things that we are able to imagine. But if we're if we're going to aggregate data, there will be solutions we have never thought of before. So Alice will not be in Wonderland. Alice will be in water data land. And we all are. So Digital Delta then, it's a nice story. How does it work in practice? Well, we started by designing through these principles. First of all, people said, if you want to do it, you must prove that it will work. So we started 6 use cases in 1 year of research together with IBM, for example, Deltaris, Delft University, and about 6 to 8 national water management organizations, private companies, and showed that it actually will bring benefits to the organization. The desalination project use case I just showed you actually showed that. It will bring the Rotterdam harbor a business case for about 800 million euros a year, only by doing it this way. But you must be able to facilitate reuse, and reuse is a very important subject. I will come back to that, because of the fact we are burning money every day by implementing new solutions when it's not necessary. And also very important is data has to stay with its owner. And why is that? Well, just because of the fact we're not ready. And the fact is, I'm not sure if we ever will be ready to share all sorts of data with everybody, no questions asked. That's the first thing. And second of all is, are we able to contain all that, technically, all that data? So, then the fourth, it should be the first, the agile approach. The user must be central. So we all asked our users in the Netherlands, and we incorporated about 28 big users, also international users, and we asked them, how will Digital Delta will enable you to do your work more efficiently? And we got answers to that. And one of the answers that we got is the fact that they said, whatever comes out of it, there's a small part of it that must be publicly owned. And I come back to that. So that's also said, there has to be a situation where there's no vendor lock-in and also no vendor lock-out. So the fact is, if I'm going to make a choice for one big system integrator, all other system integrators will say, you made your choice, I'm not going to go with you. So what did we do? What did we do? Sorry, difficult words. We designed a sort of platform that is a platform connecting platform. So we are also enabled to do this, number 7. All existing platforms are able to stay there where they are. People are able to use their investments as it's been designed for. So, okay. How does it work when you look at it? Well, it's work like this. You have a standard platform. This is publicly owned. So this T, all the way around, is publicly owned. And what we say is, in order to find people, to enable people to find what kind of data sources are actually available in the water management, we create a sort of big telephone book, a registry, or what kind of word you like to use. And in this telephone book, you will find all data sources together with its metadata. And we also developed together with Deltairis a new sort of crawler that will help you get your metadata out of your system into the registry, so people know what kind of data is actually available. Who is it from? What will it do? And how do I get access to it? But there's a problem there, because a lot of data is being developed in all sorts of technical standards. And we found out there are more than 200 standards in the water domain. So we want to say, if we want to aggregate and go to big data, that's much too much. That's almost impossible to do. So people say, you must go back to one, use one standard. Well, that's the one thing you never say that I found out. So we used a principle, and it's called the 1+ principle. So we said, if we want to go back in this area with the usage of standards, how should we do that then? Then we look at the total standard that has been used, and we see what percentage is most effective for the total sector. So we say, for example, we take 80% of the standards. And then you will see we have about 30 standards we can use in this platform instead of 200 something. And those standards are not only water boards, used by the water boards and used by the national government, but also international standards. They're standards used anywhere on the world, open standards or standards that people say we want to use. And they're not open. But if everybody says we want to use it, it doesn't matter. What we want is interoperability. So we did do that. So if you want to use a thing like this, which has a central point where you can access, not only as a user, for example, as a government to discover new solutions, or as a private company to create new solutions, when you have access to all this sort of data that's in here, or researchers that can accelerate because they, at one time, they will have access to all that data. Then you have to be sure that all things that are going in there must speak the right languages. So that's one of the things I'm going to tell you in the next slide, I believe. And it's the fact that we have to grow into that. We have to grow into maturity, because big data is actually a small child. We will grow into that, but we need each other to do so. So what can we do in this platform over here? We have users, and you have project developments, and it's actually very important why we have those. Because, as it says over there, this system will work, and it will grow by the fact that people actually use it. And how can you use it? Well, you can use it simply by saying, for example, in the US, we have the same system as you have in the Netherlands. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use one of the projects I'm actually planning to use. So I don't need any more new money. And in that project, there is money to use data, to use IT. And if you use that to get connected to this platform, the next time you do not have to pay for the connections anymore, because it's already there. And the next time that you go there, there's somebody else that used it, and you have, without extra cost, access to data from somebody else, which you actually can find. And you also have access to other persons' applications. So if you have an application here in the north or in the south of Florida, and you use it there, I actually am able in the Netherlands to reuse it. That is also good for your enterprises and companies, and the other way around. So it looks a little bit like a sort of app store. Only this is a app store, it's a strange app store, because the fact that people are afraid of, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but people are afraid to use each other's commercial solutions for platform. We have a publicly owned basic, small layer. And above it, you will have an ecosystem. And that ecosystem will develop itself. That is a promise of Digital Delta. Okay. So I told you a bit of how it will grow by using and reusing projects and information and data. Because once connected, always connected. But it doesn't mean we do not ask questions to each other. For example, if you want to join, we ask you to give all of your data sources and enter it into this telephone book. And then we say, okay, are we able to do so then? Well, at this time, we're not able to be interoperable. We're absolutely not. So we have to grow into that. We need some sort of harmonization. And we need a point on the horizon that we want to grow to. And we must allow ourselves to go there. So we have seen several presentations in situations where you can actually do that. So how will we be able to do so? Well, we have to see in this paradigm, I don't know the English word for that, sorry for that. We have to start behaving differently. First of all, we have to start reusing what's already there. we do not have to discuss all the year about if data is actually open or not. You just start with it and actually make a small progress in there, but make progress. To share data and data harmonization. So and data harmonization is already been talked a lot of times in these 2 days, but it's a very important subject, and also because it's still being organized into silos. That's very true, but we will go out of these silos. The more fishermen we have and fishes we have and all sorts of data sources we have never thought of, the less silos we need. So we also need perfect data, we think now, but we will go to a situation that we will agree to each other, this data is usable. So therefore, we must also say to each other, okay, we will use, for example, the same framework in order to say this is quality, that's a sort of quality data, and that is not. So everybody is using different things. We will have to use and start to make agreements on each other, with each other, on how to do that. So there are several steps that we looked at, but I'm already talking for a long time. There's several steps, and we like to see that these steps will actually help us growing into there. And if you look at the maturity model, you will see that we do not make any, we do not have any ideas that it will happen in the short term. Now we think, and if you look at the short term, data must be available, findable, accessible, and insightful. And also at the mid-long term, data must be usable, to be harmonized. So also the semantical part must be arranged. If somebody says this is a sewer pipe, and another one says this is a poop pipe, do we actually mean the same thing? And in the long term, we want to go to reliable data, centralized, reusable, and of course, in the end, at the horizon, which might be in 2 years, it might also be in 20 years. We want to be able to use big data for analysis. So big data is more than just a lot of data. It's all sorts of data. It's all sorts of data that you could choose from in order to be more effective and more to the point by being a good water manager. So I'm going to skip this thing, but this is something that we found useful to look at. If you look at the different stages, findable, harmonizable, useful, and reuse, this is Dutch word for reuse, and betrouwbaar is dependable. Thank you. You'll see that it's actually not a very difficult thing to do, but we have to take care of the fact how we talk to each other. We have to have enough patience. So, where we go from here? In the Netherlands, we said we're going to use it in the biggest programs there are, that most of the governments are active on, so we're going to do that. And then, in order for all people to understand what it will be, because it's difficult, we will send people to help them in the phase that the project is started. So, there is not a big issue on semantics, because that's on every corner. And communicate over it, as I'm doing it right now. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Frapper, frapper, frapper toujours, as the French say. Use existing systems and solutions. I already told you something about it, and I will come back to that. And then, most importantly, connect. Don't be afraid to connect with each other. Don't think that it will cost lots and lots of money, because you're already doing it. And if there is one government organization that is able to pay for a small public layer, and you have the guts to go with it and spend your project money every small time to go with it, it will grow and it will help you. So, what can you do then? This. The judo principle. You already know it. I already told you about it. This is what we're looking at. We're already doing it. But the fact is we have to do it together. And if you can see, the world is linking, or lonking, or it's calling. Don't know the English word for that. But if you know that about 60% of the world population in 2050 will live in delta areas. And these are only the highly urgent delta areas that I'm showing there. But if these delta areas have the same problems as you have, we need to work on that. We need to cooperate on that. Because it will also depend on economical, the way the economy is flourishing. So the issues are big, and so are the investment, not only in the Netherlands, and also not in Florida, not only in Florida, but also in Bangladesh, and also in Mozambique, and also in Egypt, in the Nile Delta, as we call it, Indonesia, of course, Vietnam and the Mekong Delta, and they're all very much comparable. So, are we actually able to start with big data? And we say yes, of course. We can do the things that I just told you, which are mostly keeping it to yourself, doing the things is in your own scope of influence to do, connect with each other, and then start doing things that will actually help. So if you have a situation like this, you do not have to ask any, search machine. Because if I ask a search machine in the Netherlands for a flooding solution, the search machine is the most friendly, user-friendly machine there is. It will give me a result in 0.27 seconds. The number of 127,000. Ladies and gentlemen, it's even worse. If you look at it, for example, in Asia, if you have a situation like that and you can see the face of that man, what's happening over here. 50,300,000 results will give me as a solution. So people say, yeah, it depends on the things that you will put into as a search machine. Yeah, sure. But if I have a situation like this, I really, really, really would like to know, is there a solution for me? And will it work? Will it work? So how do I know if it works? Well, most important is, if I go on the internet and I go to the first 100 of them, I will find a company that will always say, yes, this solution will work. But what I'll need is a reference from a trusted government or from a trusted organization that will help us, tell us if a solution actually works. So if we use that solution, reuse that solution, and we're able every time a little step further to see if a solution will actually work in our situation. What kind of delta or what kind of area in the world? If it's in a waterboard, one of the 23 waterboards in the Netherlands, or in the big deltas, that will help us. So, of course, this doesn't work either. I had perhaps I'll show it later. We have developed a tool for this, and it's called Water Window. A water window is aimed at the reuse of water solutions. So what we're doing here, it's in this website, go there, we just started it. We're looking at solutions that are implemented anywhere in the world. We started in the Netherlands, of course, because you have to start somewhere. And we look at the fact that at this time, you cannot find a solution for your problem without knowing what the solution is. Water window will give you that solution, but it will give you more than that solution. It will also answer the question if a solution to this is a problem, this is a solution, is actually being proven or innovative. And proven means that only a government in the Netherlands, a trusted organization, can give a reference about a solution and will tell you, yes, I will use this solution in a primary process on a structural basis. And I will actually say to other people, you can use it. So only the proven solutions can be publicized by governments in the Netherlands. Anybody else can publicize innovative solutions because we want to know what kind of solutions are there. So if there's another proven solution for you, you will know that there's something in development. You also know it's not proven yet, and you can see in what kind of development stage it is. So you will be able to call those people and say, but maybe you can help me. So if this database doesn't give you an answer on, is there a solution for me that's proven, and if there's not, and if it's not, is there a solution for me in development? Then you can go to the water agenda up there, and you can post your question to all sorts of companies and knowledge institutes, and you say, I have this problem. Can you help me fix this problem? By using data, it will not take very much of your time to create that, because you already clicked into this. So you know what kind of characteristics you need to solve your problem. You only need to add on that. So if we're able to do that, then you might ask the question, is digital Delta then the Holy Grail? No, it's not. No, it's not. The fact is, we would really like to see that the fact that digital Delta is seen by all its users as a publicly owned layer, that perhaps that word public doesn't say Dutch. It doesn't say also, you can do it in every country. Use the same principles and then see if you can be interoperable with each other. Have your own ecosystem in your own country. Be able to use big data within your own country. And on the back side of it, be able to do it between countries, worldwide. That would be some point put on the horizon. So, then I come to the fact of the angels and big data. You ask yourself, what is that all about, the angels? I'll tell you something about through a story. And this story is about two men that walking around the street in Italy in about 1505 or something, that year, a long time ago. Two men, and one of the men is an artist, very well-known artist, Machiavelli. Yes, sir. What did you say? Michelangelo. He's walking out of his street with his friend, and at one time, there's a big brick on the street. And they're walking there, and his friend says, hey, what's this brick doing here? And he tries to kick it away. And Michelangelo says, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Why are you kicking this stone away? This is a beautiful stone. You shouldn't do that. And his friend says, well, it's just a stone. Kick it away. Why? It's just a stone. So Michelangelo, he picks the stone up and takes it away. And he said, okay, I'll take it. See you next week. And 1 week later, his friends come to the atelier, to the working space of Michelangelo. And what he sees there is mind-blowing for him. Oh, sorry for that. He sees this. This beautiful angel. And he looks, oh, this is beautiful. What is it? I said, hey, I made it. I made it just for you, because of our friendship. And friendship is that important. I made this statue just for you. And you know the more important part of it? I made it from the stone that you kicked away. And he said, well, thank you. That means a lot to me. So then, ladies and gentlemen, why do I tell you this story? I can tell you, the digital delta is that stone. Thank you very much.
Okay. We've got time for maybe one or two questions, but I think that, what's that? But you can see that they are doing some incredible work there. I love the Michelangelo story of what you can create out of something that is somebody else's trash is somebody else's treasure, or it can become that. So, question. No questions.
It's the first time my life.
But get on Digital Delta. The industry partner for Digital Delta is IBM, and they have a whole suite of folks in the Netherlands that worked on it.
Perhaps I can elaborate on that. We had a first year of research in order to establish what is needed if we actually want to answer the question, what we need to be able to work with big data. So in that time, we worked closely with IBM, and we used software of IBM. But one of the findings also of this stage was no log-in and no log-out. So if you want to be successful, we have to decide upon a platform that people actually want to use. So since IBM has several platforms of its own, at this time IBM is involved as just another user. But we also keep it involved very much because it's a very highly regarded knowledge partner that we have. But at this time, only the public entities are developing Digital Delta.
Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Is there a report or some publication?
Yes, it's about the premiums at this point, for sure, yeah.
As soon as that comes out, we'll make it available.
So much of what we're talking about is incorporating data from different sources. I mean, does the European Union know about all this stuff, and what's their take on it?
Well, the European Union know about all this. It's a difficult question. The European Union is it's not a monster. It's an organization with lots of heads, and it tries to stimulate all sorts of innovation. So I know there are several developments actually coping to the aspect of big data. The way we use it is quite unique. So we have a board of stakeholders. One of the agents in there is the European Commission. We have two sides. Yes, they're developing other things that are actually looking at the same topic, but not on water, also big data. But on water, the European Commission is actually one of the stakeholders.
There is an app system that is being developed by 6 nations in the European Union. It's the head development is at UNESCO IHE, which is our university partner that we operate all our Netherlands programs out of. And this app they're developing is one of the most fascinating apps I've ever seen. What it does is that you stand in a location, you push the app, and as the water comes up over your ankles, it will tell you where the next highest building is to get out of a flood. So you might think, oh, that's no big deal. Well, yeah, it is, because of the fact that what if that building is full of people and has no capacity to get you in it? So it will pick for you the next building that's available so that you can get out of the flood and directions to it. So it's an application of big data that, I can't remember the name of that program. Yeah, yeah. How do you use big data to actually save people's lives? Is what that one is for. And I think that it could be very useful. And we talked when I was talking with the people that are developing it in May. It can be very useful. For example, what could you do with that in San Francisco?
As I look at this is just another application.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a platform where people, enterprises can access all this kind of information. They will develop this sort of things for you. Try to get it on the market.
Yeah.